Hey guys, we got Glenn down here. It's another customer showcase video. This guy's got such cool guitars, I can't help it wanting to show them to you. So here we go. What'd you bring in today, Glenn?
Just got this one. It's a 79 Les Paul. It's gone through the old makeover process, and when they made it over, they actually put their serial number on the back. Vintage bridge. They put 70 speed knobs on it. Pelham Blue Nitro. And that's really nice. And of course they did the old etching of the headstock to make it look aged and stuff. They left the fretboard alone. A lot of times they'll swap them out, put Brazilian bores on. They didn't do that. What I like that they did do is that it's all Pelham Blue.
Huh.
And it's not as heavy as some of them. I've seen some of these at 12 pounds. This was kind of nice. Doesn't have that big, fat, funky 80s neck that came a year later. It's got that 70s neck on it, which is...
So it's a 1979.
79, all the parts, all of that.
And you're thinking that it was refinished in 2011.
Yeah, between 2011 and now, it was done, and it was done right. I like the way they did it. I'm not a big mini hum guy, but one thing you know about these old deluxes, if you get a good one, they're solid as a rock and they sustain forever. This one here rocks. I just turned it on just a second ago. I bought this without even trying the electronics. I knew what it was and I was going to take it home.
So was this refinished by Gibson?
No, Lord, no. There's companies out there that do them, historic makeovers. They'll take your R9 Les Paul, any other guitar you got, and they'll just go through it and make it look like a real 59. They'll age them or they'll refinish them with nitro. You can see where it's, I don't know if you can see the checking that's in there. It's just almost like it's a 50-year-old nitro. And it's a real thin-skin nitro, not like the nitro paint they put on Les Paul. Now it's really a thin-skin nitro. You can actually, if you look, you can see where the gold under it was a gold top, 79.
Oh, was it? Wow.
79 Deluxe would have been a gold top. And this one here, they just went over the paint. They did a nice job. It's a cool, cool guitar. And it just shows that checking right throughout it. It's just awesome.
Let's set it up here on top of the case so we can take a good look at it. You know, you can almost see the gold underneath that.
Yeah, it's a real thin nitro coat they did on it. Even around the binding, there's no bleed over, so it's not like they do a cheap paint job on them. It's just fantastically done. I love the brass saddles on that AVR1. Ooh, do I love those.
An AVR1.
Yeah, the original bridges that came out of Gibson were AVR1, and then later they went to the Nashville bridge, which is a little wider. And this one here is just pretty. No wire. Just a good little bridge. And it's solid. I fired it up a second ago here. It's just got good sustain.
So a lot of guys, though, they would change these mini humbuckers out.
They would route them out because when they brought the Les Paul back in 1968, of course you could get the custom if you had all the money, and it had humbuckers. But the Les Paul was a deluxe and it had mini humbuckers, and guys wanted the humbuckers. So a lot of these old ones have been routed out and guys put humbuckers in them. You got to remember, Les Paul didn't have humbuckers in the standard till 1976. They were all mini humbuckers. That was the big thing that was going to make it. That's why you see a lot of the early 70s guitars that have been routed out. They actually came with mini hums. Guys wanted humbuckers.
No, I have a friend, Jamie, that comes in here. He's got a 69 and it was routed out, and he took the minis out.
The only way you got humbuckers in 1968 was if you bought the custom, and the custom cost a lot more money, and guys couldn't afford it, so they would route them out. Unfortunately, some of those guitars are just fantastic, and they beat them up with a saw. I like this one. I've actually got a buddy that's already hollered at me, I want to buy it, because he knows what it is. They're just cool. Good guitars.
That's good. What do you tell us about these knobs?
Those are, I guarantee you, these are early 70s speed knobs. You can tell by the way the lettering is yellow rather than white. That doesn't age. That's the way they look. And, you know, that's a cool thing. I don't know if I like speed knobs. Maybe I don't think that was the best choice of knobs for it, but they did. But in any event, those are 70s knobs. Those are worth $1 anyway, right? hard to find those old knobs that aren't cracked because guys would trash them. Guys don't know how to pull a knob off. They don't have to. Take a spoon, a good old teaspoon. I'm sure you guys know it. You want to pull a knob off, don't get a screwdriver and pry it. You're going to break the knob. Take a spoon and put it under there and lift the knob right off.
Because it's got that little angle to it.
The roundness of the spoon, it pushes on the center, not the edges. So it pushes it from the center up, and you rotate it, work it, but you push it from the center, and you have less tendency to crack the knob.
And because that sounds good, that's not
Yeah,
a bad
I took
idea.
a few knobs
Use
off
a
the
spoon.
50s Les Pauls and broke them and thought, wow, that was a blow it, till I learned.
So I can tell by looking at this edge of these frets that this has not been refretted.
Oh, the nibs are there. It's not been refretted. Basically, it's a 79 Les Paul that someone wanted Pelham Blue, and they wanted it Pelham Blue front and back, which I think is the coolest thing to do with it. It's a 79 Les Paul Deluxe. It's not like it's a $10 million guitar, so you don't mind making modifications to it in the color. Guaranteed this was a gold top, and it was greenish all in through here from the forearm, because just like the knobs on a Strat that turned green, a 70 Strat, because of the bronze, pigments in that gold that they use for the gold tops would wear, and it would wear through, and the sweat would turn green. I'm sure we've all seen old Deluxes in gold tops. It's just green.
So what, in your opinion, what are the best, let's say 5 guitars to mod? What are your favorite 5 guitars to modify?
Yeah, I don't like modifying guitars. I like the old vintage stuff. I deal in vintage stuff, and it's hard to mod. But the best guitar to mod, not the 5 best, the 1 best guitar to mod is the guitar that you like that just isn't quite it.
There you go. That's a good answer.
Guys, I've seen 59s.
How about Neil? Neil, let me ask you, what are your best 5 favorite guitars to modify? And then Phil, I'm going to give you the same question.
I was thinking...
Because we got Neil sitting down here.
I've got an Electromatic Bo Diddley. It's right. I'm left-handed. It was right-handed. It cost me $300, and I flipped it around, and I added all the gold hardware to it, and put the Dynasonics in it and everything like that. So
this guy loves modifying guitars. You're not so much wanting to modify him. This guy over here, he wants to leave this stuff alone. Get an old guitar, leave it alone.
Depends on what you have. You know, if you got a 59 Les Paul, and you got the absolute gall to say, I think Grover tuners will be more stable, let me ream out that headstock, you just lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's why I've modded guitars. If I want something modded, I'll go grab Neil Moser. Neil will build me this. He'll build it, it'll be wide open, it'll be just catch me out.
Yeah.
A vintage Les Paul, I don't even like refinishing them, but this is a cool job for a refin. I don't normally buy a guitar that's reworked, but this one, historically, I'm going to buy this guitar all day long because I know it's a good guitar. It's a very cool looking, and you know, it could be had at a decent price. It's a good guitar to buy. It really is. I like this guitar, Pelham Blue. Something about Pelham Blue.
That is a cool color.
It's just a cool color.
That really is. There's guys that come into the store and they only want blue guitars.
I gotta be honest
really
with
weird.
You. The little woman she's crazy. Get a green one, and I'm like, ooh, I don't like green, but she likes the color green. You know.
Yeah.
Myself, I like a nice burst. I do. I like a burst. My favorite color is my bitch. That guitar.
Phil, let me ask you, man. We got Phil down here. What are your 5 favorite guitars to modify?
Squires and Epiphones.
Squires and Epiphones.
See how easy that is.
Soup them up.
That's right. You just buy them, they're cheap, fix them up.
And make a good guitar out of it.
Yep. It's easy.
I've got a modified Epiphone Les Paul. I put Burstbucker Pros in them.
Yeah.
I think redid all the electrics, put Gibson pots and...
What are those PRS? What about one of those, the American PRS that has all the imported parts in it already? Is that the...
Oh, like a Gibson?
No, like what is the PRS? Is it the M2 or the S2?
S2.
The S2.
They're done in Maryland.
Okay.
Right. Right.
So you've got a made in Maryland guitar that you buy it with imported parts.
Those are great guitars at a piece the price point down.
Yeah.
I like those.
That's a
guitars.
good guitar to modify because
you don't have.
Yeah, I have 4 of them, and I don't mod any of them.
you don't mind
You
them.
don't have
I
the
like them
average
where they are.
player that's got
I like
them
to
better
go get
than
a
4.
private stuff.
Yeah, I like the
Most
bridges
people don't have
better
that kind of
than
money.
What about those new Fender Contemporary series? If you were to modify one, isn't that a perfect platform to modify?
Yeah, I think I don't like them.
I have one. It's nice. I haven't had any desire to mod it though. Maybe locking keys.
Yeah.
I was thinking about one of those contemporaries with the dual humbucker Strat, and I was going to put active pickups in it because I don't have anything with active pickups. So
What they call it, a black top Strat, isn't it, or a New York Strat? I forget what the dual humbucker is.
just buy a.
They
just
got the
buy
black
a,
top
just buy
Strats.
A,
Yeah,
just
the
buy
black
a, just buy a one of those EMG kits for like 250
Right.
bucks. No soldering or anything. You just pull all this
Do you
stuff
like the
out.
new EMGs as opposed to the old ones?
I think the Seymour Duncan Blackouts sound more like the old EMGs than
Yes,
the new
they
EMGs.
do. The new EMGs, I don't buy that. It's just not what I want. But the old EMGs that you had to solder in for like late 80s, they rock. The blackouts sound
I was
better.
curious about the Kurt Hammond.
Glenn, let's plug this thing in. Let's see what this thing sounds like. Because if we don't play it for a minute, people get
They'll
mad.
complain.
How's it play?
Dude, it feels really nice. I like it. It's for mini homes, they sound pretty good.
So you got a new one to add to your collection. Feels good buying a new guitar, doesn't it?
You know what? That's what I do. So yeah, it's a good thing. And you know, they popped the screws out. Somebody's actually went ahead and adjusted the pole pieces on this.
Huh.
And whoever did it knew what to do it.
Play some David Bowie for us. Let me see that. Let me see that. You don't mind?
Go right ahead. It's got incredible sustain for mini homes.
I play the same riff every time I play. I always do this.
So how many riffs do you know?
I know just this one riff.
The neck feels nice on it, doesn't it? Pretty cool.
It feels great. My favorite riff.
That's a cool little Les Paul. Really, for mini homes, it sounds great.
Are those vintage? Those humbuckers? Are those mini humbuckers? Are those vintage?
Yeah, that's all
They're
79.
they would be-
1979.
Yeah.
So they would be what, Alnico 2s in those?
Oh, they would be.
So to have a vintage guitar, how old does it have to be? Does it have to be
They
20
say
years
25
old?
years.
25 years old.
And I have a problem with that because,
You're talking about 1993.
yeah, you know, all that says is
Is
we're
that
getting
vintage
old.
1993?
I got to be honest with you. They say 25 years old is a vintage guitar. To me, I'm sticking with what it was when I was a kid, 50s, 60s. I like the 70s stuff. You get into the 80s, they get that wider flat board on the Les Pauls. I didn't like that, so.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. You guys take it easy. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.